Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Today we'll be returning to a subject that we looked at about 4 days ago, and that's talking about just our program. Just about every other program, articles in the press, they have continued to speak about this whole matter. And this is the whole matter of the federal government banning under-18s from writing WAEC or NECO examinations. These are the examinations that set you on the course to go into university, having started your education as a 6-year-old to fit into the Nigerian system of 6-3-3-4. 6 years in primary, 3 years in junior secondary, and another 3 years in senior secondary before you go through a minimum of 4 years for your undergraduate studies. So, because the government has said in a policy announced by the minister that people who are not 18 years of age will not be allowed to write those examinations, there have been plenty of conversations, as I said, online. So let's look at it again, because when we did look at it, it looked like we didn't have the time to accommodate all the inputs that were coming into it. I would say that by and large, judging by our last program and some of the programs that I see on air and also online, I would say that most people are against the whole notion. We'll come to start talking about that once we begin the program, but we've been used to child prodigies, geniuses almost, institutions for specially gifted children in other parts of the world, because there have always been people who would be able to surpass, if that is the word to use, the standard. But in Nigeria here, we are saying that the standard is that you must put in those years. In fact, I heard the minister, when he was explaining the point, that it's not so much a matter of the age of the student, but that those years would have been put in. You must have put in 6 years in primary, 3 years in junior secondary, another 3 years in senior secondary, for you to be in line with the educational standard. And it does seem that government is going to be doing whatever it can to ensure that people do stay within that format, even if it means, apparently, holding people back or down. Now, okay, Dr. Ahmed Adeni Ojikutu is a public affairs analyst and social commentator, and he, like a lot of Nigerians, also have a viewpoint on this issue. First of all, what would you make, Dr. Ojikutu, what would you make of the minister saying that it's not so much a matter of the candidate's age as it is one of complying with the educational standard in Nigeria?
This is a very disheartening situation, and I'm saying this because when you talk about standards, it's not by number of years that you use to measure. What you use to measure standards are the quality of education, the output and the quality of the student, the facilities, the instructors, the number of teachers onto student ratio. So if all these are not totally in our favor, and the president has deemed it fit to put an individual in charge of the educational future of our people, that person should understand that he or she is representing and needs to be much more focused on making sure we have larger number of people that are educated. But when the psyche is about the law and not about the people, you now discover that you continue to come up with policies that does not even add up, and it will affect and give further negative results. Quality of education does not have to do with age. So I do not understand the angle at which the minister is saying it, and it's very disheartening.
Okay, I hear you. As I said, there have been, in fact, we got an educationist who called in last week when we first addressed this program. If I'm not mistaken, his name is Dr. Motosha. I think he called in from Ibadan. And his opinion was that, you know, we've been doing the wrong thing for so long that nowadays we've come to regard that wrong thing as the norm. He was speaking about this whole matter about, well, I hope it doesn't put a slant on it when I use the word, rushing through children through education because of their capabilities, for example, so that you might have, you know, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, improbable as it might sound to most of us, the rest of us, are passing a GCE examination because there are these few and far between brains. That does not mean that that should be the norm.
Thank you. Do you know that when we emphasize about education and knowledge, the truth of the matter is what is regarded as knowledge yesterday is different from what it is. How you can get access to information and knowledge yesterday is different from how you can get in today's world. Let me give you an example.
Sure.
If you go to the older University of Ibadan or Ahmad Bello or University of Lagos, and you want to have access to a textbook, you probably see people hide textbook from maybe Faculty of Chemistry, go and put it in management, so that when they go back there tomorrow, they'll go and have, nobody will see that textbook probably for the whole of the semester. But now, the information is here. So if you see people that are older and laying emphasis about rigidity of educational and informational access, is so painful, because these people that you are talking about, the 16-year-old of today, know as much as he has opportunity and access to any information all over the world. And if that is the situation, the age argument can never be won by those people that are insisting 18. You see some other people, they come up with this assertion that in UK, in America, that is 18 and they are very strict because they have data. And there are schools in those climes are 90% owned by government. A study I looked at said that out of the 10%, Catholic in the US, Catholic had, the majority of the schools, like 38%. Other private individuals and probably Islamic organizations had the remaining private schools. Now, when you talk about 10%, the government fund 90% of, schools and all that with huge budgets. Now, when they come about some of these topics, they want us to be giving facts that is not really good for us on national TV, on international network. When we read out some of these figures, it's not in our favor. Now, what is the out-of-school children population in Nigeria? UNESCO said it's above 20.5 million. Now, 20.5 million, the minister, in an interview, he said he did not agree, that it should be around 10 to 11, is on record, 10 to 11 million. Both 10 point something million or 10 or 11 million to 21 million is still extremely unacceptable in today's world. People are not going to school. And let me tell you this for free. Do you know that even some of these pupils that you are saying that you don't want them to sit for WAEC, you are saying you don't want them to sit for JAMB before they are 18. Do you know that in the first instance, majority of them are not even interested? People have to persuade children, persuade people to go to school. Now, that is why you see that mosques, churches, NGOs, politicians across almost all the constituencies will be buying form as an JAMB form, WAEC form, state government For instance, in Lagos, the state government, I think since President Bola Tinubu's time, they've been paying for WAEC for pupils. If they don't, people will not. And a lot of states across Nigeria is making sure that they do that to make sure that people cross that line. So now, if a policy is coming, understanding our peculiarity, that people do not even want, parents will say, I don't have money for WAEC. That's why their children has gone through GS1 to XS3. And when they get to SS3, they will attend classes, they will not write WAEC. That's the end of their education. So if we understand that is our peculiarities, even the minister will have bought free funds, probably, for people as empowerment to help people to move forward. Now, if this is our own challenge in Nigeria and peculiarity that parents do not want to, probably because of financial constraints, they do not have the capability to probably fund the JAMB and WAEC and all that. State government is helping. This is on record. Now, you are now coming up with policy that will say, okay, don't do WAEC now. Come back 2 years' time. The minister will not like that to be his record. I don't pray this even happens to him, because it will have been the worst thing that will happen to an individual. Awolowo is known for academic progression, and a lot of people are paying for people's WAEC, paying for people's JAMB. And you are coming with this. And I think maybe there are people are not really sitting the minister down. Our peculiarity, you can't compare us with America or Canada or UK, because the per capita income is different, the situations are the variables are different. And some of these things, we can't be reading them out as a people. Let me say this, sir. Do you know that an average child in the UK will go to school compulsorily for 18 years? That's what they are saying. In America, compulsorily. And they have a very high percentage of attendance compared to us, that we have very funny records. You know, 8.1 million people, according to just 2022 report, 8.1 million people dropped out from GSS classes. GS1 to 3, they will say they are not going no more.
So the more that can be done to keep them within the school system, the better, right? That seems to be
God bless you, sir. The truth is that what we should do is to improve on the standards. And I've read some of these points out. Improve on the quality of the teachers, the infrastructure, the things that will improve the laboratories, so that even the intention of the 6334, as at 1985, 83, 85, the intentions were, let people have technical skills. Then there were laboratories, biology labs, TDC laboratories, so that people will be able, by GS3 when they are graduating, they will have some form of skill set, and they can be able to read and write. If somebody is not employing them, they will be their own employer, and they will have a skill set, either making soaps or doing some technical work, and they will be able to be an asset to the system. But when these systems are beginning, because of funding of education is really a serious matter. The private sector, people are starting schools, missionaries, both left and right, and a lot of private individuals are investing in this. And if we see that, okay, there is a gap, that, okay, some are going to university in 14 years, some of the universities understand that, okay, the laws are there, and they know. But the implication is that what they do is they probably peg it around 16. As a matter of fact, with what the minister has brought up, we should all sit back, legislate to put it at 16. Our peculiarities are different. People that got into university 2019, they are still going to final year.
Okay,
they've spent almost 4-5 years that they are supposed to have graduated. There are natural occurrence that will impede, and there are human is ASU strike and all the strike that can be possible. Natural is something like COVID. So people have spent 6 years in school. So somebody now wants to go to school, maybe 16 or 17 plus, or a few months to 18. You are now saying don't write WAEC. Go and sit at home. The minister should not pray for it. Okay,
that's another point that has come up in all the conversations that have ensued, that this probably should have been better publicized as an idea, so that a lot of people could add input to it. And in other words, it would have been widely discussed, and then people would have taken from there. ideas such as what you are saying now. Now, the other aspect, and I don't know how important you think it is that whereas the minister said it's not so much a matter of age, I think it was, yes, he was speaking about the chronological age from the day when you were born, but there are also aspects of psychological age, the emotional age of a person, and I think there were implications in that direction. Say, look, let us not in our haste to hurry our own onto those spirited heights of quote-unquote academic achievement and excellence. Let us not be injuring the psyche of our children. It is theorized that very few people beneath the age of 18 are really well suited for the rigors of tertiary education, especially as it involves leaving home for the first time, in most cases, being an entire law unto yourself. A lot is assumed that such a young person can accommodate and thrive in. There are those who have brought up that particular aspect of the conversation as well.
Thank you very much. I think what the minister does not understand is that knowledge is drifting away from the theoretical, baseline to skill set development. And I'll give you very suitable examples across profession. Now, let's do ICT. Okay. In ICT, do you know that people do not even need to go to regular university now to have a university degree in computer science, computer engineering, software engineering, if the minister agrees, or people that are supporting him. So if somebody, leaves school at 16 and it goes 2 years, and it's happening from Lagos, it's happening from Abuja, it's happening from Port Harcourt, it's happening from Sokoto, there are ICT knowledge that they will just incubate these children for just 2 years, and by 19 years, they will do a final year. You can even do it from your house, and you have a BSc of A-rated university anywhere in the world. Do you know this? Some of those things, if they appear as if they don't know, it can lead to a serious debate and will make them see this. That's number one. Number two, in accounting, ACCA and ICANN have partnership now. If you have ACCA, maybe you just do one course, they will give you a charter. You become a chartered accountant in Nigeria. If you have, and these are professional bodies.
Yes,
and I tell you, if for instance, somebody graduates 16 years, he attend the skill and the preliminary stage of ICANN. Now he attends the skills and the professionals. Do you know the implication? If you are a chartered accountant, what university do you need to go as a professional accountant? Now, those university stringent rule and rigidity is fading away. A lot of professions are standardizing what they need in the field. That is to say, that is the skill set that matters, what you can deliver, not the theoretical framework that you have studied or you have crammed. So therefore, we are not saying university system is not good, but the too much rigidity at it. And now our own peculiarity is different from what is obtainable. An average child in the UK would take £20, £80 per month, just that government is giving the child, and a lot of other support. Schools are free as private schools. Now, if all public schools are free, there are free buses to convey students and pupils to school till they finish. So therefore, if these things are there, you want to come up with the law, look at what pain parents are going through from the KG class to probably the O-levels, and you now want to come up with, you are restricting those, pupils not to write examination, stay home for 2 years. You should not even think about it or look at the impact and the number of what. Now, the policy is not even going to affect people that are in
the system right now.
People right that now are in primary one.
From next year.
It's people that are in primary one. Already, if somebody is in primary one and is 5 years old and is going to finish maybe secondary school by 17,
okay,
he will still have to wait. So that law is not even... So what they should do, what they do in other climes, let me provide a solution, is that they come up with a policy that by August 31st, every child that is not delivered August 31st will not... If you are September 1st, that means you have to wait till the following year. Now, what the issue is that now they have so much made the system as such that the academic year and the age, and they have data to back it. Mm-hmm. The minister does not even know the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. He said they are going to do research. It's on national TV. So if these are the issues, you cannot compare us with people that has these figures and they can manage, they can monitor, and they can make sure that it goes round. Now, there are a lot of other things. Academic certificates, degrees are not really the thing that we should be fighting for. What we should be fighting for is the standards. So that is what I feel that the minister should concentrate on, not to destabilize the future of Nigerian youth.
Well, destabilizing it by this new policy.
Draconian policy.
Well, clearly it shows what side of the conversation you are on, and you don't think that this has been well thought out. You could actually call in, to let us know what you think about from home. The phones are on. You can call in because, as I said, we've looked at this before, but it was felt that at the time there wasn't enough time to involve all those who might have wanted to contribute from the diaspora and here as well. But the minister doesn't seem to be, neither does the federal government seem to be listening. In fact, one of the things we said at the time was that, look, government has this way of following a public conversation about a given matter. They have been known to say, okay, you know what, let's take a look at it again. A lot depends on how well government understands the views of both sides of the conversation.
And I want to even thank your station. You know why? Because some of these things, when we have a contrary view, you provide the opportunity for us to air it. And it's the truth. If the minister does not come up or the federal government does not come up with a statement to regulate the mindset of the students and their parents, we are in September, schools are resuming next week. A child will be leaving his house, having at the back of his or her mind that he or she is not going to write an exam in May, June next year. Okay. So do you expect the school to be able to control them?
Okay. Good morning, David, who has called in from Mowe. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Uncle Yori. And,
good morning, sir.
Yeah, gentlemen, God bless you. Basically, I think the question that we need to ask the Honorable Minister is, if a girl or a boy finishes at...
Okay, we'll hear you better soon, but at the moment we can hardly hear you. But please continue. We shall be straining to try and understand what you're saying.
All right. What I'm saying is we need to ask the Honorable Minister, if a girl, for instance, finishes at 16, between 16 and 18, what does he expect them to be doing? Is it not a liability to the society, to the family, and so on and so forth? Secondly, in Chicago, there is a girl, for instance, who graduated at the age of 17, PhD, who got her PhD at 17. If such girl has been restricted, that resource, it will have been wasted. So I think it is a very, very bad policy to say that, one other thing I want to say is that there is somebody, for instance, not even one or two, who spent about 4 years to be able to write, to get her wife through. First year, he failed. Second year, she failed. Third year, she failed. Before the fourth year, if someone started at 18 and he spent 4 years to be able to pass, then put again into consideration the system whereby strikes are there, all sorts of destructions. Then what's going to happen? I think it's a bad policy and we shouldn't allow it at all.
Okay, Thank you very much, Mr. David, for calling in. The the policy, as it is being conceived now, talks about a minimum age of 18. Nothing about, there's no problem if you're 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And somebody worked out that the Honorable Minister himself might have been around 24, 25, the truth is, when he entered university.
Look at the number of candidates that wrote last year JAMB. No, this year, that's the last JAMB. 1.9 million plus. That's almost 2 million. What is the number? These are just figures that everybody can easily have access to. Over 1.6 million people wrote 2023 WAEC. So if these people, we are churning out a large number of people, you are now creating a vacuum. I can't even imagine how he wants to conceive that. How do you want to manage that in a system that some of these things has to do with the prerogative of different states? Because we are talking about secondary education.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. The prerogative of states, as you put it. There are those who are saying that you even sit down and look at everything minutely. There is an element of overreach in the federal government, in this federal government's new stance, because after all said and done, it's the prerogative of the states, really. Yes, the federal government for policy has what it has, but it is for the states to execute.
If a state feels that my people like education, they want to start, KG classes from primary 4, from age of 4 and upward, and probably the average SSC's, class will be 16, 17. So will you now come with a draconian law? Now, if other states, the peculiarities are different, and even the secondary education, the state has their powers to regulate and manage. Now, if this is the reality, how come? That means you are doing an overreach. And I want to beg the president and people in Federal Executive Council and all the people to talk to the minister, Professor Tairu Mama, to please, because what I'm seeing, maybe most other people are not seeing it. Students are coming to school, they are on their uniform and maybe tie and whatever. They are resuming next week Monday, and I know I'm not going to write the exam. So when they know they are not going to write the exam, I tell you, do you know the reason why schools beg that parents should not allow their children to write GCE in SS2? Is because they know that when they know they have the result, they will become unruly. They will not listen to the rules and regulations of the school. So now, it's not as if they've written exam. What you are telling them is that they should not. And also, there is a lacuna. GCE. You cannot stop them not to write GCE.
Okay.
So you just want to stop. If you want to do anything like this, it should be from the primary school. But do you have the powers to tell maybe Jigawa State or tell Lagos or tell Sokoto or tell all of them, okay, this is the age you must admit into your primary school? How do you do such laws?
Okay. Ibrahim in Kaduna, good morning to you, sir.
And good morning to your guys over there.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Coming from Kaduna. You see, this policy that these people are bringing out at this time is wrong. How would I say so? Yes, they'll come out with a policy, but bringing it out at the wrong time. Like that as well. Now, this is just simple and common arithmetic. They should not try to kill our children and indeed our own morale. Now, my child is 3 years old. 1 year, at 3 is nursery 1. At 4, nursery 2. At 5, nursery 3. At 6, at 6 now, primary 1. At 7, primary 2. At 8, primary 3. And from there, at 7, at 9 is in GSS 1. Now, just look at this common statistic. Are we getting it right as well? Am I communicating? No. The minister really wants to help Nigeria and this the common.
Okay. What Ibrahim was helping us with there is an annual progression of a child within a household.
It's not reasonable. It's not supposed to be. Let me give you a scenario. Do you know why the private universities were almost crumbling 2007 to 2016? Do you know what happened? What happened was JAM was insisting on 200 cutoff mark. I wrote an article that was online and everywhere. It came out last week. Now, do you know what I said in that article? I said that the implication is that just a single policy issue that if you don't have 200, you cannot enter any Nigerian university. And do you know that it was worse to the extent that one school in Republic of Benin had over 10,000 students at the time? I have people that, you know, are working for me that said at that point in time, they are already, you know, they are working now. They said at that point in time, they had over 10,000 students from Nigeria in a university, not across, not in Ghana, not in Togo, not in Republic of Benin. Now, if that's happened, new registrar for JAMB, that's Professor Oloyede, now came up that, okay, universities, you can reduce these marks. Let's join this matriculation examination together. Then, with sense, with deep thinking, that why will you set up university, give them license, and not allow them function? They don't have students. Their customers are the students and the pupils coming in. Okay, what do we do? He now said, let's move to 180. University admission. People didn't go to Cotonou again. They were looking for other options. If you can't go to federal, you go to state. If you can't go to state, you go to other colleges. Now, he moved it again. They moved it to 160. Recently, the minister was there. So when I see the minister sometimes, you know, smile and talk as if, I think he has the passion. Maybe because of the age, he's not trying to like, very rigid. You know, some of these are elderly people. They can be very rigid with standards.
Okay.
But I'm advising that standards and laws are good, but human beings are better.
Okay.
What will be the impact?
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll continue with this conversation. Okay, welcome back. Our guest is Dr. Ahmed Adeniyi Ojikutu. He's a public affairs analyst and social commentator. He is vehemently against the new federal government policy of containing within a certain age bracket the time when youths in the country can actually attempt the examinations, the West African School Certificate, or the NECO examinations that would give them possible entrance onto university. They want to peg that age at a minimum of 18 years. And this has not been going down well with a lot of people, although not in every last case. There are those who are saying that they don't see anything wrong with the policy at all, but that's just for the sake of completeness, so as not to give the impression that everybody across the board is against this policy. In the meantime, Jude has called in. Jude in Abuja. Good morning.
Good morning.
I beg your pardon. I understand it's Lagos. Good morning, Jude in Lagos.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
I don't believe the under 18, you must get to 18 before you write WAEC and NECO. Because it's going to retard so many of our young students.
Okay, yeah. Is that it?
Because I have a friend who came from converting from UK. He had a child that was 3 years. He went to one of the biggest private schools in Lagos. The school did not even know what class to put the girl. And finally, the girl was admitted into KG3 because she passed the KG2 and the KG primary 1 and primary 2 exams at that time. So, but the father said, no, that my child is 3 years, so put the girl in KG3. And the girl was top in the class. This is close to, this is in Lagos. Now, if that girl has finished the primary school, I think before 10, and she's already in a very good school in CROC. She has to spend 1 extra year to do year 6 to do this so that she can be in line with Lagos State. It must be 10 years to enter a secondary school. And she did the extra year at year 6 and then went past the exams of CROC. And CROC is a difficult school. And she's already in year 2. She will be like 16 years before she gets to SS3.
What is CRT? What is CRT for the benefit of other viewers?
I think it's something Christian Redeem College or something in Tagamo, I believe.
Okay.
Now, so will it deprive this guy from writing WAEC or NECO? And I have another question. Some people do not write WAEC; they write IGSC or something like that. What are if they get those exams? Will you deprive them from going to the university? I don't understand this kind of law. It's too draconian because all states have different regulations to get to secondary school. And if this guy was in maybe Delta State at 9 years, you should have been in class 1.
Okay.
But in Lagos, it is 10 years before you enter a secondary school. So she stayed for 10 years before she enters secondary school. That's already a disadvantage. Not minding that, why will somebody come with a draconian law from federal government to say you must be 18 years before you write WAEC?
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call. We're still taking views on this. And as you can see, there's people are against this idea for different reasons. And the principal one is that don't hold a child down if the child and their parents are able.
Do you know that some of the people that are on the other divide, based on this hypothesis that the minister puts out, is that what they say is cognitive knowledge for a child to be able to learn more and all that. Let's assume that we have 16 years presently, universities are using 16, and we are moving on. Someone can come out and say that, okay, Nigerian students, are they good enough to represent the country's standard of education well anywhere in the world? The answer is yes. Because the developed countries, most of the developed countries that you might say, okay, they are A-rated in terms of development. The UK, the US, Canada, depends on services of medical personnel. And not just in medical science, in some other fields as well, and areas of specialization, professional specialization. And most of these people came through the system of Nigerian, either secondary or university education. So if the minister wants to say that the standard, I don't think the standard is much of the problem. The problem is the minister does not understand that knowledge is moving.
Okay, but that's
moving away.
Well, that's a very interesting
theoretical. It's moving away from the theoretical to the skill set development. That is the new knowledge.
You have to concede that that is an opinion that you hold. That a minister of education... It's an
hypothesis, I said it. It has an hypothesis.
that a minister of education
which we have to test.
Will not be aware of the changing tides of education. Maybe, possibly, could be...
It's an hypothesis.
Could be responsible for this. The other thing that I've sort of taken from what you said that you don't particularly put much value on is the whole idea of, from the point of view of the federal government, the minister, the whole notion of working within a format, a uniform format. So whether you're from Kaduna, whether you're from Lagos, whether you're from any state, you will fit into, and as long as you're a Nigerian, you're going to fit into a particular format, unless you can say that there is something untoward about that. Did I hear that another Ibrahim from Kaduna has called in? Is that right? Did I get that right?
Okay. I was talking when you cut off pipe last time. Yes, you see, what I wanted to say is that Mr. Minister is bringing in a nutshell, we have a serious policy somersault in this nation. Because why? Firstly, they are bringing it at the wrong time. And in a nutshell, I was itemizing from 3 years before child get with school.
Okay.
even in primary. But now, the way I want to end it, before a child will go up from that nursery 3 till now a year of years, you're already coming through. And by the age 15, it's already out. You are denying them not to go in. What type of policy our leader have bring us? In fact, this is really not applicable to us. That you allow us to send our child and our siblings and kids our work to school. This is not any other thing. This is not the right time to come out with this kind of policy. Please, let them bring a law that we at least itemize all our suffering out of this measure. Because why? A harm to one is a harm to all. What goes around will come around. That is also what I want to know. I'm not happy this morning to hear that policy. Because the river, my God, give us the good leader that will come out with that will make this nation great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for calling in with that impression. The federal government bans under-18s from writing WAEC and NECO, and that's what we've been speaking about. And our guest is, stoutly against the idea. There's no need for it. Even as I have heard the exact same idea from the other side that there is no need for gaining an additional year the way it is conceived because you were able to put in between the ability of the child and the parents or guardians, you save or shave off a year or two from that in the context of time. There are those who are saying that, so what's the value of that? As opposed to what we were talking about earlier of conforming to a national format. You were just saying that in the UK, they have their format. Well, in Nigeria, too, we have our format.
And because they have data, because they have proper welfare, because they have been able to master their plan. Now, the reason why I say this is that every child in UK must be educated. Is a must. It's not in our own case that we have, according to the minister, between 10 and 11 million out of school children. The international research said that we have over 20.5 million.
You make it sound as if education isn't compulsory in Nigeria too. It's compulsory in Nigeria too.
Okay, what is the number doing? The minister has agreed to 10 to 11 million, and he said he's just saying that offhand. He's not done a research on it. Now, let's admit that we are working with 10 to 11 million. That is what should be the minister's focus. Students or young adults that are roaming around the street, that are not even in the classroom, not that you want to come and pull them out. Again, those people that are already in school, you want to discourage them. So if these things are, we don't need to debate it too long.
Okay.
In UK, they give every child £20 every week, making £80 per week, either whatever, holiday school. More so, there is free education across 100% free education. Apart from that, there is free bus to convey them to school and other incentives to encourage them to go to school.
We have to be careful there.
The other way...
You have to be careful there, as you know. You don't need me to tell you that.
Okay.
Oftentimes, people are within walking distance.
So that these
people are within walking distance. So
that these figures, we will not be... It's a national embarrassment for you to have done that to us.
Okay.
We should not be debating things like this so that some of those figures, we will understand on how to manage them and move our country forward.
Okay. Funsho in Mina, thank you for holding on. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling, sir.
Yeah. This issue of under 18 years to start to write the WAEC and to enter university, is it a problem? Please, Nigerians should get away from all this corruption. Let me start by saying when they bring the of jump to 180, nobody say anything that education standard they are making the standard of education lower. Nobody complains. Why? To get to school, to get to university. Now they are saying 18 years. What is wrong with that?
Yeah, I hear you. As I said just before you started speaking that This is a view that has also been canvassed. What is the benefit of shaving a year or two, sometimes 3, of...
To the pre-nursery, 3 years. Nursery, 3 years. Secondary, primary school, 3 years. 6 years. University, the secondary school, 18, all 18 years. Why? What are we debating on this thing?
Well,
why? What are we debating?
Well, because we can. I think that's the most important thing. Because we can, and we will contribute.
There's nothing wrong in following the ladder. That is, pre-nursery 3 years, nursery 3 years, primary school 6 years, secondary school another 6 years, making 18 years. Why all this? Say the guy is somebody is brilliant. What does that mean?
All right.
Sorry, we should get it right. We should get it right. Oh no, everything. We know that we have some brilliant child, but at least they should go through the ladder.
All right. You know, impassioned perspectives on both sides. You know, because there are those who are saying that the way some people are speaking of the matter, it's almost as if it's a life or death in situation. And there are those who are saying that it isn't. It isn't in the entire life of a person. This whole matter about because you can shave a year or two, maybe even 3 off the age of a child when he ends up in university, they are saying that they can't really see the overall benefit of it. In fact, they...
Do you know, to some of these things, maybe people do not understand, there is already a class disparity in Nigeria.
Okay, that's part of the argument.
That class disparity is, and I will say this,
yes.
That class disparity is that we are talking about an ordinary Nigerian that is very brilliant, that the parents does not even have money, that the state government, if the state government has not paid for their WAEC, they will not further their education.
Okay,
or
yes.
If somebody in their constituencies, this thing I'm saying, ask almost all the public office holders, from councillor to local government chairman to House of Assembly members to House of Reps, how much do they use to collect forms in support of people in different constituents across Nigeria? This thing, I'm not just saying, I'm being practical. We are not saying theory. We are saying in the, you know, when you ask people in Nigeria, the situation is that people need support to get some of these things.
Yes.
Now, if what will happen, let me tell our caller what will happen. What will happen is that people do not even want to go to school. Maybe the caller has opportunity to send their children to private school or to a vocational center or to go and do A-levels.
Well,
people that has the money.
I'm worried about that sentence.
That
sentence in there, that people don't even want to go to school. I'm worried about it. That's not a pan-Nigeria attitude.
No, for people that have wherewithal, they would. You know, you go to the secondary schools. You know, when we talk, me, I'm not talking as somebody that is sitting on a high horse. I talk like someone that is, you know, that mingles with the people. So we're not talking theory. We are talking practical. This question I ask you, anybody that is a public office holder in Nigeria, ask them how much they spend to help people to move beyond secondary education. If the answer is almost everybody is contributing to that number to make sure we have that 1.9 million people that wrote JAMB in 2024, a lot of people will have aided, you know, encouraged people. So when you see these things, it's not by magic. It's that we understand that we value education. So we should not be coming, and people are now trying to move forward. We should not be coming with something that would discourage them.
I hear you. Now, it's sort of related. Yes, we are talking about the federal government bans students under 18 from writing WAEC or NECO. WAEC or NECO isn't the end of life. It isn't the beginning and the end of life. There are those who will go through an alternative route to
skill development.
To skill development.
Thank you, sir.
And there are those who are not even inclined.
Yori, let me tell you this. The truth of the matter is that it's people that has money, that has what it takes, that will look for alternative. Let's assume that the minister does not hear the voice of wisdom and he goes ahead. Or maybe we don't have anybody to call him to order or adventure. God forbid. God will not let that happen. Now, if that is the situation, people will look for alternative. Human beings, they are not stagnant. They can think so fast. Now, what will happen is that some people will take their kids at that age 16 to do A-levels or diploma. They will still get to year 2 or year 3, and they will not lose any year. But say somebody that does not have what it takes to even feed the children will now say, go and bring money to go and do a diploma in a school. When government is subsidizing education, that is what opportunity they have. Me, I went to University of Lagos. I passed through that. So if we have opportunity in our own time, now we understand our peculiarities. We understand the situation of the country. Must we come with this policy again that even it's not starting, the repercussion will not start from far future. It will start from this coming Monday, 9th of September, and everybody should wait and let's see. Because the implication is that students will dress up, put on their ties, put on their beret, get to school. Teachers will talk to them, and they already understand that we are not writing WAEC. How would the management, school management, secondary school management, manage those kids with that kind of mentality? Okay. At a senior class?
Well, I see the point that you are making, and I think because it's not the first time we've looked at this subject, I think we can leave it here. We can park it here. Let's not say leave it. We can park. The fact that you park in a certain place doesn't mean that's the permanent site of the whole idea. I think we can park it here for now. At this particular point, we did succeed, I think, in getting a few more, inputs into the conversation. So I want to thank you, Dr. Ahmed Adeni Ojukutu, Public Affairs Analyst.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure.